County, here in Florida. On the banks of the St. Johns River, we look inside Everbank Stadium in Jacksonville. Straight ahead, we've got a good one on tap. It's the Carolina Panthers and the Jacksonville Jaguars. On the visitors' sideline, that's Dave Canales trying to get the Panthers turned around in his second season. Across from him, you've got the coach of the Jaguars. She's looking to make history as she seeks her first ever win as a head coach. So what lies in store for these teams this season? The talking's done. We're about to find out. It's week 1, and off we go on EA Sports. He's to midfield. And he'll be out of bounds on the return, and the drive will begin there.
Anytime you find yourself on the road, you want to do anything you can early to establish yourself and quiet this crowd. And I'll tell you, there's no better way than to take the opening kickoff nearly all the way and set up your offense with great field position to start this game.
So the Panthers led out by their quarterback, Bryce Young. Shaky rookie year, but the back end of his second year, Greg, very effective for the man who was the #1 overall pick out of Alabama in 2023.
When he was taken as the first overall pick in the draft a couple years ago, Mike, it certainly was not because of his physical stature. It was because of his mind. It was because of his processing ability. It was because of all the intangibles that they believed they saw in his days coming out of Alabama. Now, he's gotten some experience under his belt from a rookie year that
nowhere to go. He is taken down.
Well, here early on, if this pass rush continues to get home at this rate, this is going to be a long day for this offense. They're going to have to put some extra guys in there, mix in some play action, keep this pass rush off balance.
Not the sharpest of starts on offense. Here an early 3rd and long. From the gun, it's Young. Going for it all. And on 3rd down, that ball incomplete.
And barring an aggressive decision here on 4th down, it just seemed like a really wasted possession to go 3 and out, not able to pick up a single 1st down. Not only do you not able to gain any field position advantage, it really takes a lot of the wind out of your sails as you find yourself jogging off the field and the punt team coming on.
So here come the Jaguars, and Greg, it brings out Trevor Lawrence. Many ups and downs in his first 4 seasons. Now year 5 for the former #1 overall pick out of Clemson.
Mike, isn't there just something different about week 1 of the NFL season? I mean, after months of anticipation, debate, speculation, it all gets settled on the field. New coaches, new teams, rookies playing their first time. Man, it's just an exciting time of year, and I'm pumped to be calling it alongside you.
And not much there. Good defense, held to no gain. Here's a 3rd down and 4.
It's now 3rd and 4.
Working out of the gun, it's Lawrence. Looking middle, and he's got Brown.
A gain of 6. That's good for the Jaguars. 1st down. 1st and 10 at the 27-yard line.
Set to go now on 1st and 10. Now Lawrence on the bootleg. Right back to Brown. He's got it again. And they will bring him down on the other side of midfield. A gain of 24 through the air. That's good for a Jaguar 1st down.
1st and 10 at the 49-yard line.
Yeah, so what I like here is it's not only a really good play call, but it was really well executed by the quarterback. So they used the bootleg to get their quarterback out of the pocket, change the launch point, and then they pair that with a really nice concept downfield. He uncovers, wide open, nice conversion.
It's a gain of 7. brings up 2nd and 3.
Lawrence gives this one to Etienne. And he's in! Travis Etienne. Touchdown, Jaguars.
That was a special run, Mike. I mean, it's just rare to have that combination of contact, balance, and strength to not only run through the contact, but then to also have the speed to break away once you get into the open field.
Cam Little comes on now for the extra point. He's got it. And the Jaguars have their first lead of the new year. They're up 7-0 here in the season opener. Nothing is our score as this kick is sent into the air. On the return, here's Trevor Etienne. And their drive will begin at the 30-yard line. So, Greg, here comes the Panthers. You know this franchise so well. What an interesting stretch last year. 2 wins 2 years ago. Bryce Young now turned around with 5 wins, but maybe more than the record last year, the momentum that you felt from the Panthers at season's end.
I'll tell you, if you would have said the season was going to end with the hope and the energy around that Panthers organization that it did, I think people would have thought you were crazy. Bryce Young's rookie year, obviously up and down. Early on in year 2 last year, he gets benched, and then only because of an Andy Dalton freak car accident, he finds himself back in the lineup, and he plays the best ball of his young career. That looked like Alabama Heisman Trophy quarterback Bryce Young. So the entire narrative around Carolina has changed. They're no longer searching for their quarterback at the moment. Continue to build talent around him. They went wide receiver with their first-round pick. Continue to support Bryce Young and continue to add pieces on defense. They're not quite ready to contend yet, but they're a lot closer now than they were a year ago.
Off the play fake. Here's Young. That's going to be intercepted. Picked off by Andrew Winger. And the Jaguars have excellent field position as they take over right at midfield.
So they're implementing a cover 2 system, and what that means is on the back end, Mike, your 2 safeties are going to split the field in half. They got to cover from the middle of the field all the way to the sideline. So they got to have range, they got to have great instincts, and then when they get a chance to get their hands on the ball, they got to be picks.
So, Greg, this Jacksonville team comes out. I thought last year this was going to be one of those ascending teams after a playoff run before 13 in 2024. Changes trying to surround Trevor Lawrence with a new group to make some successful headway.
Yeah, now the question is, can Liam Cohen, we saw him work wonders last year in his first year as coordinator down with the Tampa Bay Bucks, the job he did with Baker Mayfield. Can he bring some of that magic, stay in state, and now bring it to Trevor Lawrence? Everyone you talk about in Jacksonville, like they just rave about him. He's the franchise. He's everything we wanted. Well, now it's time for him to show it. Now it's time for them to compete for division titles, compete for AFC Championship. We got a little help now. Maybe the best two-way guy we've seen, I don't know, should we say since Dion? I mean, that's probably the best comparison, his old college coach. But Travis Hunter, he's going to bring excitement to Jacksonville. Let's see where they use him. Both sides of the ball, fun packages, exciting player. I think there's some magic in store in Jacksonville, but can Liam Cohen and Trevor Lawrence, they're going to drive that ship.
Complete. And he'll be out of bounds inside the 30-yard line.
Move those chains. That's good.
They'll run. It's Etienne. And he surges forward for a gain of about 5.
He was taken down at the 22-yard line.
From the 22 now, here's 2nd down and 4. From the shotgun, it's Lawrence. That one pinballs around, but it is incomplete. Here's a 3rd down and 4. On the handoff, it's Etienne. And he's going to have a Jags 1st down. They move the chains on 3rd down.
A gain of 4 yards. Move those chains. That's good for another Jacksonville 1st and 10 at the 18-yard line.
Once again, it's Etienne. Trying to to find some place to go, but nothing developing. Tackled behind the line. It's a loss of 1.
These negative runs, they just make everything for the play caller that much more difficult, Mike. So they've got to find a way to be more efficient on these early downs, meaning first and second down, because if not, you find yourself the entire game in third and pass, and that's what every single defense in the league is trying to do.
Makes it third down and 12 yards to go.
Lawrence. And this ball incomplete on third down.
And the defender does such a good job, Mike, not only putting himself in position to make the play, but how often do we see guys that are there and they just can't quite make it? In this case, he's there, knocks the ball down, really nice play.
Little's kick is good. And the Jaguars will extend to a 10-0 lead. So the lead is now 10-0 as this kicks away. On the return, here's Xavier Leggett. And he'll be brought down past the 25. Decent field position to start this drive. Here's the Carolina offense now as they head out to take over for their next possession. This unit hasn't been at their best early on. Punt followed by an interception on their first 2 drives. This drive begins with a run by Hubbard. This defense all over this one. They get him down behind the line. It's a loss of a couple.
I can promise you that is not how they wanted to start this drive, Mike. I mean, to get blown up at the point of attack, there was just nowhere for the back to go on that run.
After the loss of 3, it is 2nd and 13. Out of the shotgun, Young. That one taken in by Ted McMillan. And that'll go for a gain of 7. And it's going to set up third down.
A 7-yard gain on the play. And it's
here's Young to throw. The pass rush gets home, and he goes down. Eric Armstead. He's in there to drop him. And it leads to 4th down.
And these are the type of splash plays that can have an impact, especially as the game goes on. So offensive line has to do a better job to make sure that they have this protection shored up and that this isn't a sign of things to come.
And he'll be brought down. Short return. And they'll take over there. The Jaguars offense ready to get back at it. They've got the 10-0 advantage here early. And they'll see if they can add to it. Beginning on this drive, 1st and 10. He'll be taken down after a gain of 2. Here's a 2nd down and 7 from the 37.
2nd down.
They'll run it once more with Etienne. Running room hard to come by as he'll get ahead for a yard. Christian Roseboom there on the tackle. 3rd and 6.
3rd and 6.
Lawrence. And he is going to go down. They sack him to end the first quarter. So, first quarter in the books here on NFL Kickoff Weekend. It's the Jaguars on top. We'll have more from Jacksonville after this. On 4th down, here's the AFC Pro Bowler from a year ago, Logan Cook, to punt. Here comes a return. That could have broken for a bigger return, but as it is, nice job getting his offense a start out past the 30-yard line. Now, following the punt return, we have an injured player on the field. He'll get himself looked at, but this is not how you want to begin a new campaign. Get this drive started. On the ground, it's Hubbard. He finds a seam, a good run, up past the 40. Let's give him 9 on that one.
A gain of 9 brings up 2nd and 1.
Another run here with Hubbard. And no place to go. He's hit and taken down behind the line.
He sniffed that one out from the jump. I mean, once he diagnosed and knew where the ball was going, he got there in a hurry, and he put an end to that play really before it ever got started.
Here now, 3rd and 5. They'll motion over Thielen. From the gun here on 3rd down, it's Young. They'll be forced to just throw that one away. It's incomplete.
And even though they'll say he had a man in the vicinity of the throw, it was clearly not intended to be caught. Really smart play. Don't risk a turnover here. Live for the next snap.
But he cannot get away. Great job down there to hold him to a short return. Here comes the Jacksonville offense now, heading back onto the field. Their lead is 10. They go back to work, try to add to it. It begins with 1st down. To throw is Lawrence. That's taken in by Thomas. After the catch, he gets that forward for a gain of 9.
It takes a certain guy in that slot position to be willing and able to go across the middle of the defense on those in-breaking routes. You can tell this guy, he doesn't care. He is fearless going across the middle, and he's able to secure a nice catch.
And he'll just bite the bullet and throw this one away. That was a good idea. Didn't force anything there. But now it's going to bring up 3rd down. They'll run the sneak. Trying to find any seam he can, but the push too strong in the middle. He didn't get there. It's 4th down.
Jaguars, 1st down. 1st and 10.
So they come to the line for 1st down and 10. They go play action for Lawrence. He'll let this one go. Deep for Thomas. And he will take this one in. 73 yards. Touchdown, Jacksonville. A beautiful combination in the air there. The pass downfield and bringing it the rest of the way into the end zone for the touchdown.
And it's really just a great route, Mike, and then a beautiful throw. The accuracy of the throw is what allowed the receiver not only to secure the catch, but then be able to turn it up and finish the play and find himself in the end zone.
Extra point by Little is good. And the Jaguars move further out in front. It is now 17-0. The kickoff team is out on the field, and we're back to it as the kick's away. A safe kick taken at the 5. And they'll be set up well as he is past the 35-yard line. Panthers offense starting to trot out for this next possession. So, Greg, let's pull back big picture and talk NFC South for a second, a division that you know so well. We've got teams that have been to the Super Bowl in the last 15 or so years out of this division, yet people overlook it at times. And maybe they've overlooked how good Tampa's been the last 4 years, too.
Well, it's funny, Mike, you think it wasn't very long ago that the NFC South was the toughest division in football. I mean, you mentioned Super Bowl teams. Tampa Bay won one recently with Brady. And then Atlanta, they make a Super Bowl with Matt Ryan. And New Orleans, and obviously the success they had with Drew Brees. And Carolina, we played in the Super Bowl. I mean, this was a division you didn't want to play. Now, they've all fallen on their resets. New coaches, new quarterbacks. Tampa Bay has done the best job weathering and taking advantage of their rebuild and their next era in the midst of a down division. So, big reason they've won 4 in a row. Can Atlanta, can Carolina, New Orleans, can they catch up? Because right now, like you said, Tampa Bay has been the dominant team in this division.
Greg, you lived it, you know it. While these may not be the biggest markets in the league, the rivalries amongst these teams really elevates what you see when you watch the NFC South go head-to-head, too.
Yeah, and over the years, there's been some major games played between Hall of Fame quarterbacks in uniform for all these teams. So it has a lot more history and a lot more, kind of relevance than maybe it feels as of late. The markets are a little smaller. The teams have been down. They might not have the premier star players that they had in past generations. So they've got to continue to rebuild these rosters, continue to have these new coaches find their footing, and You know, we might be a year or two away from the NFC South getting back to what it used to be.
A first down throw for Lawrence. From the 38 now, here's second and a couple.
8 yards on the pickup. Brings up second and 2. At the 38.
Off the play fake. Here's Lawrence. Throw on the run is complete. And he's taken down inside the opponent's 35. They'll have a first down. It's a gain of 28.
First down. First and 10 at the 33-yard line.
Throwing is Lawrence. Now a screen set up for ETN. That one way too slow in developing. They rally to the ball, they get the man, and it's no gain.
Well, the best screen plays, of course, you want the offensive lineman out in front of the running back. They act as his escort, his lead blockers. But what you can't afford is for the defenders to be in the backfield and get to the running back, because those offensive linemen, they can't help him at all.
Oh, a nice open field tackle there. He could not get free. They're going to stop him for no gain.
A loss of 1.
Lawrence from the gun here on third down. This one down the field, but lined up incomplete. Cam Little for this field goal attempt. This is going to be a 51-yard attempt. He is 2 for 2. That kick is good. And the Jaguars open it up a bit further. They now lead 20-0.
I think at this point in the game, Mike, when you have things under control, not only were they able to hold on to the ball for a while, they still were able to manage to add 3 points.
And he'll be brought down just beyond the 25-yard line. The Panthers offense ready to get back at it. They'll try to get this a bit more respectable before the break. It has not been their half to this point. Let's see what they do on this drive. First down now. And he'll be taken down up at the 40-yard line. Give him 14 on that play. One first down. They'll come up first and 10 at the 40. Young hands it to Hubbard. And a nice job, able to dance away and get forward for a pickup of a half dozen. Ball on the 47-yard line. Here's second down and 3. They'll go again with Hubbard. And the D closes quickly. He's stopped after a gain of a yard. Jack Heiser in on the tackle. He's got a man. That's McMillan. And they'll move this ball way down into the red zone, inside the 20-yard line. A big play for the Panthers. 32 yards.
If you want to score points at a high level in the NFL, you have to generate explosive plays. And after that big chunk pass play, they find themselves now down there in the red zone, and this is where you have to finish drives.
And that keeps them ahead of schedule. That's a first down completion of 7 yards.
Just a simple hitch route. Certainly nothing special there or anything downfield, but the idea is the more of those you throw and those efficient passes, the second the defense moves up to take it away, that's when you go for the big ones.
And he'll get nothing here. Back to the line of scrimmage, and that's all. They've moved the ball well here, but now face 3rd and 2. Fighting for the marker, he loses the football. And they will get another chance. They cover it up after very nearly squandering a great scoring opportunity. Well, a chance to get right back in it here. First down and goal. Now Young. Oh, this pass rush dialed in right now. They get him again. That's Tyson Campbell on the corner blitz, getting home for the sack.
This is the epitome of team defense. Not only are you able to rush the passer and put relentless pressure on him play after play, but the coverage on the back end is so tight. There's just nowhere for the quarterback to go with the ball. You see him just continue to hold the ball that extra second in the pocket, and with the way these guys are pass rushing, that's all the time they need.
On second down, Young. Back into the hands of Hubbard. And he's not going to be able to get away. Good defense on the perimeter. It'll be a loss of yardage. Last two plays have gone backwards. Now it's 3rd and goal. Here's Young. He'll try and get there on the ground. Play is stopped for a moment. It is an injured Carolina Panther on the field. He'll get himself looked at, but this is not how you want to begin a new campaign. This has been quite the drive. 3 points would kind of feel like a letdown, so they're going to go for it here on 4th and goal. That is incomplete. The defense coming up big in the red zone. It's a turnover on down.
These are the situations where, as an offense, you're trying to dial up your best play call to make sure this possession doesn't get wasted. But let's give credit to the defense. Big moment, big 4th down opportunity, and they're able to get off the field.
They'll give it to ETN to start this drive. And he's going to manage to get this out of harm's way and bring it up to the 5-yard line. Good gain of 4. The Jags will use the first of their timeouts here, and they'll get together prior to this 2nd down play. From the gun, a give to ETN. Maybe a couple there. It's 3rd down.
And while that run wasn't anything really to write home about, what it allows them to do, Mike, is keep everything in the playbook at their disposal. 3rd and short, now it's up to these coaches to dial up their best short.
Oh, a huge mistake late in the half. It is intercepted. And he's going to be brought down. What a turn of events here. He has given his guys 1st and 10 in the red zone. The Panthers offense going to take over here in the last minute of this first half. They'll start with the football already in the red zone. Big opportunity here on 1st and 10. And this offensive line just has no answers right now. It's another sack. Dalton to throw. Off-balance throw. It's complete. And he's going to be forced out of bounds. Still plenty of work to do. 3rd and long coming up. Throwing. Dalton. Nowhere to go. He's going to be taken down. The 2-time Pro Bowler, Josh Hines Allen. He gets there for the sack, setting up 4th down. Here's Ryan Fitzgerald to try the field goal. Spotted at the 35, this is a 45-yard attempt. This one is good. He knocks it through. Halftime coming up. Let's go downstate. And Scott Hansen has the EA Sports Halftime Report.
Okay, Mike, thanks very much. Welcome in, everyone, to the Orlando studios. Scott Hansen with you for a quick recap of the first half, which has been strongly one-sided. This is heading towards blowout territory unless they can come from behind and get themselves a victory. Let's find out what happens in the second half. Let's go back out to the commentary team, Mike Tirico and Greg Olson.
Scott, thank you. Back here on EA Sports as we count down to kickoff of this second half. This taken in at the 8-yard line. And he'll work this one past the 25 to right about the 28-yard line. Brian Thomas now and the Jaguars offense getting set for their next possession. And you see the numbers for him into this third quarter. They just pop off the screen. He has been open and electric throughout. The outside complete to Thomas. They'll get about 4 here as he is taken down.
A gain of 4 brings up second down at the 33.
Lawrence now on second down. Along the sideline, a nice catch. The feet in. It's a short game, but it'll move the chains. A first down.
Move those chains. That's good.
Working out of the gun, it's Lawrence. And he's going to be taken down right at midfield. A fresh set of downs to work with. It is first down and 10. Here's Lawrence to throw. Pushed out to his left. He runs with it. He'll get a dozen out of that one, scrambling his way to a first down.
That's another Jaguars first down. First and 10 at the 37-yard line.
Ball rests at the 37. It's first and 10. On the ground, here's ETN. And he'll get back to the line of scrimmage. That's about all.
Back's doing everything in his power to try to get that ball around the edge to the boundary, but just great pursuit there by this linebacker, staying with his angles, running through contact, and he makes the play behind the line.
They come to the line needing 11 here on third down.
A loss of 1 brings up third down and 11.
Lawrence now. That one is batted away. Incomplete. No separation that time. Tightly defended. It brings up fourth down.
For the field goal.
And he missed it. It's no good. And they are not able to add on to their big lead.
And this is the danger of trying these long field goals. Remember, Mike, if you miss, the other team gets the ball at the spot of the kick. So it's going to end up setting them up for great field position as they start this next drive.
The Panthers offense getting ready for their opening possession of this second half. They'll run it here with Hubbard. And they'll move this one down inside the 40-yard line. About 15 yards to kick off the drive. It's a first down.
A gain of 15. First down, Carolina.
Off play action. He'll set up to throw. Looking left side is tight end Tremble. And he'll get about 8 on that one. Most of it coming after the catch. It's second down.
At the 30-yard line.
A give up the middle. It's Hubbard. And that should be enough. He works his way forward to pick up a first down.
First down.
They're going to run right over center with Hubbard. And he will carry his offense to the red zone. Inside the 20-yard line, a pickup of 9.
It's a gain of 9.
An enviable spot to operate from. Here's second and inches. On the give, it's Hubbard. And he'll get past the marker. So he's got a first down on that gain of 5. Now after the run, we get a stoppage for an injured player. He'll get himself looked at, but this is not how you want to begin a new campaign. Space getting tight here, down to the 13-yard line. They work first and 10. On the ground, this is Hubbard. And he'll get back to the line of scrimmage. That's about all.
We spend so much time, Mike, talking about these defensive backs and their ability in pass coverage. But when you also have a defensive back that can make plays in the run.
Oh, he's going to be bottled up and taken down. They got him.
This has been a masterful game plan defensively. I mean, not only have they found their mismatches and been able to exploit them, It's led to 7 sacks so far. I mean, even when the offense seems to make an adjustment, Mike, the defense just still seems to be one step ahead of it.
Throwing now on 3rd and long, and that is incomplete. Tyson Campbell that time, able to knock it away.
Really nice play there by the defender, Mike, and not only to force the incomplete, but it's the timing. Understanding if he gets there too early, you bring in PI. You get there too late, it leads to a completion. That time he times it just right and knocks the ball away. And when you find yourself down double digits, you don't want to make habit of settling for these field goals. It does allow them to chip away a little bit and cut into this deficit, but they've got to find a way to score touchdowns.
This is fielded inside the 5. He'll get this past the 20 before he's brought down shy of the 25-yard line. Travis Etienne of the Jaguar offense ready to get back to work. And you have to imagine the defense is saying, how do we stop this guy? He has run roughshod through him to this point in the 3rd quarter. Play action now. It's Lawrence. That's complete to Etienne. And he's back to the line of scrimmage. That's it. No gain before stepping out of bounds. Now 2nd down throw for Lawrence. And he's out of bounds up beyond the 40-yard line. They'll come up here 1st and 10.
That's good for a Jaguars.
There's a short one. He's got Strange. And they'll get about half of what they needed. It's a pickup of 5 and sets up 2nd and 5.
Brings up 2nd and 5.
Lawrence gives this one to Etienne. And they'll move this one down inside the 40-yard line. 14 on the pickup. 1st down, Jacksonville.
That's good for a Jaguars. 1st and 10 at the 38-yard line.
On the give is Etienne. Trying to avoid tacklers, and the ball is out.
So even though they avoid the turnover, this is still a play that they're going to coach hard off of. They're going to bring guys into the meeting room next week and say, hey, guys, we're not always going to be so fortunate. The ball is not always going to bounce our way. Anybody who handles the ball from the center to the quarterback to any of the ball carriers, the most important aspect of team offense is protecting the ball at all costs.
It's 3rd and 4. Now Lawrence. Rush comes. They're setting up the screen. And he will have the 1st down. The drive will continue after a pickup of 8.
That's good for another Jaguars.
To throw is Lawrence. He'll try to hit him with a screen. This one could be sniffed out. Blown up in the backfield.
We call them safeties because they're usually the last line of defense, but not here. On this play, he's up there at the line of scrimmage attacking the offense, and he takes him down for a negative play.
That's caught over the middle by Thomas. And that's a good gain there. It's going to wind up just a couple of yards shy of that 1st down.
It's a gain of 8. Move those chains. That's good for another Jacksonville 1st and goal at the 6-yard line.
We are through 3 quarters here on NFL Kickoff Weekend. You're watching the NFL on EA Sports. This has been some kind of march downfield now. Can they pay it off with 6? It's 1st and goal. They'll run it here with Etienne. Good blocking, and he's in. Travis Etienne. Touchdown, Jaguars. That's his 2nd touchdown now here in the season opener. This has got to feel good, Greg. You open at home and a great performance with one more touchdown added on top.
Not many better ways, Mike, than to create some excitement amongst your fan base than to have a great home opener. Every team works all off-season. They stress it during training camp. Let's get off to a great start, and then all of a sudden you're able to do it in front of your home crowd. Man, this has been a really impressive performance.
This one taken at the 7. He'll work his way across the 25-yard line. Here's the Carolina offense now as they head out to take over for their next possession. Well, Greg, this is going to take a lot of self-reflection here. You build up so much for the season opener. To struggle like this has got to be a tough field.
Yeah, we've never spoken to a team before their week 1 matchup where they didn't tell us this is the best training camp they've ever had, it's the best roster they've ever had. I mean, how many times have we heard that? So in this case, though, Mike, I think you have to be careful that you don't overcorrect. Of course, this did not go according to plan. This is not what they've been building to through their entire offseason schedule, but it's...
Oh, in trouble, and down he goes! Josh Hines-Allen. He gets into dropping. It's a loss of 8.
This offense, they just can't establish any sort of rhythm. There's just no way to sustain any scoring drives when your quarterback is being pressured and sacked this often.
So, backed up after the sack, and now it's 3rd and long. To throw is Dalton. There's a short one caught by Sanders. Pretty good effort on that one. It will not be enough. It's going to bring up 4th down.
When you throw the ball short of the sticks on 3rd down, you're relying heavily on the yards after the catch. So give credit to the defense here. Once the ball carrier had the ball, multiple guys around him, corralled him, take him down short of the sticks.
Now or never, they'll throw on 4th down. He's going to air this one out. And he's going to have a Panthers 1st down. This is going to wind up being not just a conversion, but a play that flips the field as well.
Panther 1st down.
That ball is dropped in a bucket, Mike. I mean, this defense, they continue to bring pressure with the variety of blitz packages that they have, but they're just not getting home. And as a result, they stress their coverage.
And he will get into the end zone. Adam Thielen. Touchdown, Panthers. Well, Greg, the light's still on way down at the end of the tunnel here. They are climbing back into this one with that touchdown here in the 4th quarter.
And they have a tall task ahead of them, Mike, but they have a chance. I mean, we've seen stranger things happen. They got a 2-possession game here late. They're going to need a couple stops, and they're going to need a couple things to bounce their way.
His kick is good. Makes the score Jaguars 27. Panthers 13.
Both teams ready to go once more as the kick's away. This fielded at about the 9. Oh, he's got room past the 30. A good return as he takes it across the 30. There's Trevor Lawrence as he and the Jaguars get set for their next drive. And this defense might be about ready to wave the white flag. Nothing they have tried to throw at him has been successful. He just processes things so quickly, making the right read seemingly every time.
Nice job by the running back making the first guy miss, but it's the pursuit by the entire defense. Even though he doesn't get him down on his first try, the rest of his guys are all rallying to the ball. And
oh, that may be the break they needed. That one's intercepted. Picked off by Josie Jewell. And he's going to set up his guys with great field position. A huge chance to cut into the deficit.
after playing pretty well the first 3 quarters, found themselves nursing a lead. It's a bad time to get the turnover bug here, Mike. I mean, that's twice now in the 4th quarter they've turned the ball over, and instead of being in prime position to close this game out, they're fighting for their lives.
The Panthers offense ready to take over once more. They can get back into this quickly now. Very short field ahead. It is 1st and 10. They'll run it. It's out of the gun, and it's Hubbard. He's able to tiptoe around one tackler, but not the second. He's taken down right at the line of scrimmage.
So I think as you look back over the course of this game, it's really been the inability of this offense, Mike, to create any sort of balanced attack to get anything going. And whether you look at the rushing yards, whether you look at just the points scored, this offense has to find a way going forward to generate more big plays and more balance, both run and pass.
10 yards to go.
Off the play fake, he'll look to throw. And on 3rd down, that ball incomplete. After that incomplete pass, we have a player shaken up. He'll get himself looked at, but this is not how you want to begin a new campaign. On 4th down, on comes Ryan Fitzgerald for the Carolina field goal. This one from 39 yards out. 3 for 3 in the game, as this one is also good. And the Panthers are able to put up 3 and cut into the lead. The kickoff team is out on the field, and we're back to it as the kick's away. This taken at the 5. He'll get this up to the 28-yard line. Nice place for the drive to start. Travis Etienne of the Jaguar offense ready to get back to work. And it's hard to believe you can run the ball a whole lot better than he has. The vision, the cutback ability, the acceleration, the stats. It has all been on display throughout. Uh-oh. And some space opens as he's brought down following a gain of 6. From the 35, here's 2nd and 3. They fake the jet sweep and will hand it up the middle. He'll try to get back to the line, but he's not happening. Going to lose a yard.
The line of scrimmage. A loss of 2 yards. It's 3rd down and 5.
And some problems communicating on 3rd down, and that's going to be a delay. So a much more difficult scenario now. It is 3rd and 10. From the shotgun, it's Lawrence. The pressure gets there, and down he goes back inside the 20-yard line. And the player that is down is Trevor Lawrence. He'll get himself looked at, but this is not how you want to begin a new campaign. Jaguars ready to punt this one away as they try to play the field position game here, protecting a 4th quarter lead. A fair catch will be taken here with that flag down by the punter, and this might keep the drive alive. Ball out to the 35-yard line as they come up for 1st and 10. A run up the middle with Bigsby. And he'll get back to the line of scrimmage at best. Might have even lost a yard there.
Sometimes you run all those big bodies out there, you kind of tip your hand. I always love going big jumbo personnel for a play action. In this case, they keep the ball on the ground. The defense knew it was coming, and they suffer a loss.
Quick throw there on the RPO is broken up. And no time to get the separation there. And the incompletion is going to bring up 3rd down.
Brings up 3rd down and the 11.
Lawrence. He'll go underneath him. The running back out of the backfield. 15 yards through the air. That's good for a Jaguar. 1st down.
That's good for a Jaguars. 1st and 10 at the 49-yard line.
That might end up being the backbreaker right now. This defense desperately needed to get off the field and give their offense a chance to cut into this 2-score lead. But instead, they now got to defend a fresh set of downs. And as you look up at this clock, they might be running out of time.
From the 48-yard line, here's 2nd and 7. Back to throw. Lawrence. That's over the middle, but it's incomplete. Here's 3rd and 7.
Incomplete. Brings up 3rd down and 7.
Throwing is Lawrence. Oh, and that throw not able to be pulled in. It's incomplete. Looked like he may have got a little ahead of himself there. And it's going to bring up 4th down.
And on 3rd down, what they're trying to do, Mike, is just get the ball out of his hands quickly and into the hands of one of his playmakers, but he just doesn't focus through the catch. Lapse of concentration, ends up in a drop, and falls incomplete.
And this is going to pin him back. It's out of bounds inside the 10. The Panthers offense headed back to take over once more. We'll see how they want to attack things here, backed up deep in their own end. It's 1st and 10. That's into the hands of McMillan on the slant. He's close to a 1st down. It's a gain of 9. Nice pitch and catch on 1st down.
Brings up 2nd and 1. At the
A good spot here. 2nd and a yard. On the give, it's Hubbard. And I don't think he got that wrapped up at the line of scrimmage. And now you're looking at 3rd down.
A loss of a yard on the play. And it's 3rd down.
They'll try to run for it with Hubbard. And that's not going to work either. He'll get back to the line of scrimmage, but no more. It's going to bring up 4th down.
Just feels like this has been the story of the day for this offense. Just unable to get anything going on the ground. And a big reason they find themselves trailing, and another loss of yards.
Here's Dalton. He's got his tight end. That's Sanders. And they're going to get the 1st down. They were forced to go for it, and it's going to work out for them. Now, faking the give. Thrown left side. The catch is made. And he's going to get this one out to the 43-yard line.
It's a gain of 17 yards. 1st down, Panthers.
Now, it's Dalton. And the ball out of the reach of the receiver. Falls incomplete. After that incomplete pass, we have a player shaken up. He'll get himself looked at, but this is not how you want to begin a new campaign. They'll try again here. 2nd and 10. Throwing, Dalton. Catch made by Thielen. And he's going to be dropped after a pickup of about 5.
5 yards on the play. And it's 3rd down.
Now Dalton. Off-balance throw. It's complete. And he's going to get awfully close to the 1st down marker, but appears just to be a few inches short. Dalton to throw. He'll look middle, and he's got his man complete. And they're going to get the 1st down. They were forced to go for it, and it's going to work out for them.
And the Panthers 1st down.
Dalton gets it away quickly, and it's caught. It'll be taken down rather swiftly after a gain of just 3.
A 3-yard pickup. Brings up 2nd and 7.
The motion man is Sanders. They'll look to throw again. That into the hands of Hubbard. So he's brought down. That pass is going to pick up 4 and bring up 3rd down.
A gain of 4. And it's 3rd.
Here's Hubbard. He's going to have a Panthers 1st down. At least it appears that way. He got it maybe by the length of the football.
1st down, Carolina.
So, 2 minutes to play here in the 2nd half. Greg and I back for the conclusion in a moment. They've got all 3 timeouts left, but need to score quick. It's 1st and 10. He's going to run it, and he'll give himself up here, but that's a gain of 5 on first down.
Brings up second down at the 26-yard line.
They'll drop to throw. A throw there on second down, going to be incomplete. This crowd trying to be a factor, getting very loud now. It's 3rd and 5. He'll drop to throw. He's got it at about the 8. And they are in great shape. He's taken down inside the 10.
First and goal, Carolina.
The motion man is Sanders. Blitz coming. He'll throw it. This one caught at the 4. And they'll get this down to the 3, but no further. It'll be second and goal.
Brings up second and goal.
They'll look to throw yet again. He's got it at the 3. To the goal line and in. To the Hubbard. Touchdown, Carolina.
Well, that was step 1. The offense did their job, get this thing back within 1 possession, so they're still alive. But now they've got to find a way to get a little bit of luck and find a way to get the ball back, and it's not going to be easy.
The Panthers will line up for the 2-point conversion.
To throw is Dalton. Oh, the pressure too much. He goes down.
So they decide to put the ball in the air, which I don't mind on this 2-point try, but execution was just a little bit off, and it's not going to work out in their favor this time around.
A 1-score game late, and you figure they got to have this one as they'll try an onside kick.
All right, good effort, just doesn't work out, but it's not over. Remember, they still got 2 timeouts in their back pocket. They've got to use them quickly. They've got to get 3 stops, force a punt, and see what happens when the offense gets the ball.
Brian Thomas now, and the Jaguars offense getting set for their next possession. And still 2 timeouts left for the defense, but no real need to use them. They're not going to be able to stop the clock after that. Now a handoff from ETN, and he is stopped in his tracks. Loss of a couple on the play. Now a timeout for Carolina. That's going to be their second. And they'll get together prior to this second down play. They go play action for Lawrence. He'll be forced to just throw that one away. It's incomplete. It is 3rd and long.
Makes it 3rd down and 12 yards to go.
Working out of the gun, it's Lawrence. He's got his man. Right side. It's complete. And they're going to take this into the red zone to the 15-yard line.
6 yards.
The Panthers, they're going to burn their 3rd and final timeout. The stoppage comes with just over a minute to play in this one.
15-yard line.
Victory very much in sight now as they'll take a knee. 2nd and 11. So shout to Duval here in Duval County, Florida. It is a win for the Jaguars. They move to 1-0, getting the victory to begin the new campaign. So that'll just about do it for Greg Olson and our entire team. I'm Mike Tirico. You've been watching the NFL on EA Sports. For more, log on to easports.com. The Jaguars are the winners here at home as we say, so long from Jacksonville.